Great. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. My name is Kelly Kravitz, and I'm the director of the Highly Mobile and At-Risk Student Programs Division at the Texas Education Agency. And it has really been an honor over the last number of months to be working really closely and collaboratively with the Title IV School Safety Initiative out of Region 14, working with Region 12, working with the Office of the Governor, Crime Stoppers of Houston, who we're going to hear from today, DFPS, the Texas School Safety Center, and other stakeholders concerning human trafficking, prevention, and awareness. This work is not done in a silo. It is done collaboratively with many folks. And we have really been working to develop resources to better understand what the needs, the challenges are, and then to just broadly increase awareness. And so this webinar series is really brought to you out of that. We want to get more information out to all of you in the schools concerning human trafficking. This is happening in every community across the state, and it's important that we are informed. And with the diversity of stakeholders and folks that are helping to prevent and support schools around human trafficking, we wanted to make sure and provide the opportunity to showcase those organizations during this webinar series. So our webinar series is the first Friday of every month from 10:30 to 11:30. And last month was January. It was Human Prevention Awareness Month. And so we actually had the opportunity to have two presentations, which we had the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children early in the month. And then the last week of Friday, last week, we had the Office of the Governor's Child Sex Trafficking Team provide a panel discussing the trauma of trafficking youth with TBRI and Traffic 911. And today we have Jenna Fondren with the Crime Stoppers of Houston Safe Schools Institute, who's going to be sharing more about resources and supports that they provide. And then next month, we do have the Children's Advocacy Centers of Texas that will be presenting on Friday, March 5th. So please do make sure to bookmark this time. And if you aren't able to attend, that is fine. We do have the information recorded. It is on our TEA's Highly Mobile and At-Risk Student Programs Division webpage under webinars and trainings. And so you can go back there to view other presentations from this series. And just as we go ahead and get started, please do mute your mics. And if you could drop in the chat the name and the school district that you're from, your name, and then your ESC or school district, so we know all of who is joining us today. Again, thank you for what you do. Thank you for being here today and learning more about this very important issue. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Jenna.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Kelly. Really appreciate that. Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy and honored to be here with all of you to talk more about Crime Stoppers of Houston, but more specifically, the Safe School Institute and what we do as an institute and all the direct services that we provide. My name is Jenna Fondren, and that's my email. Please reach out to me anytime if there is something you heard in this presentation today that you would like me to expand on, or you just want additional resources. Email is probably the best place to reach me. I'm really excited to talk to y'all about Crime Stoppers more in detail, because I feel like anytime I meet someone, whether it's in Houston or across the state of Texas, people say, I'm really familiar with Crime Stoppers. I know what Crime Stoppers is, or at least I've heard of the organization, but I just don't really know what y'all actually do on a day-to-day basis. And so I'm happy to break that down for you all today, and hopefully we can be a resource for you anytime you need it. So before we get into the Safe School Institute and everything we do to support our schools, I want to give a little bit of a background as to how we became Crime Stoppers of Houston and our mission and kind of the foundation of how we operate. So the first Crime Stoppers actually launched in Albuquerque, New Mexico in about 1976. I was talking with Rod earlier about this and just kind of an interesting story, but long story short, there was a murder that basically took place in the middle of a street in broad daylight in Albuquerque. And when law enforcement showed up to investigate, they knew people had seen something, clearly it was in the middle of the day, people had information, but no one wanted to come forward. And so it really spurred the idea of setting up an anonymous reporting tool. And what if people could call in? They could remain anonymous. We wouldn't ask any questions about their identity. Would that help us solve the crime? And within like 24 or 48 hours, I would have to look more into it, but in a very short period of time, the crime was solved. And that foundation of anonymous reporting was brought to Houston in 1980, and Crime Stoppers has been operating here in Houston, Texas since then. The Safe School program has actually been around in Houston since 1997. But when we were going into schools in 97, we were only talking about tip line and anonymous reporting, which I will cover a little bit more in detail. But really in 2018, we started shifting a lot, and we're bringing in a lot more prevention, talking a lot more about school safety, mental health, human trafficking, teen dating, cyber safety, all the things that we know are so important to cover with students. And in 2020, we hit our 40-year mark in the Houston area, and we're just really proud to have been serving our community for as long as we have. Our mission at Crime Stoppers is to solve and prevent serious crime in partnership with citizens, media, and the criminal justice system. So really the two parts of our organization is crime solving and crime prevention. And if you can remember that, I think it'll really help people understand more of what we do. Under the crime solving portion of our company, we have our famed tip line, Fallen Hero Project. We have a victim advocacy director as well, who's fabulous. So at Crime Stoppers, we have a fabulous building that our first building opened in 2017, our own little headquarters. And the nonprofit crime prevention staff is housed on the second floor, and right above us is our tip line, our detail office with officers who are answering the phones all day long, investigating the tips that come in. Within our crime prevention, which is our nonprofit team, we have the Safe Community Program, the Safe School Institute, which is what I oversee at Crime Stoppers, Parents Against Crime. We are multifaceted. We're trying to protect our community and our schools in every way that we can. So just, I guess, a little bit more detail. We have a board of directors, our nonprofit staff, our trained school presenters, and our law enforcement detail. And that's really what makes up Crime Stoppers of Houston. I will say that every Crime Stoppers across the state of Texas operates slightly differently. We are not an umbrella organization. We do operate independently. We work very closely with the different Crime Stoppers across the state, because sometimes tips are connected, and someone who's in a different county will call Crime Stoppers of Houston, and then we will relay that information to the appropriate agency. We all really support each other, but our tip lines have different numbers, and we operate independently. It takes an army to do what we do, and we really rely on people around us. I cannot do my job without the amazing community partners and people that I meet with on a weekly to monthly basis. So we work with over 73 law enforcement agencies, 65 media partners, and this number is constantly growing, but around 146 organizations, nonprofits, foundations, government agencies. Within the Safe School Institute, I work a lot with the TEA. I work with different regions and ESCs. I sit on a couple different human trafficking education committees. I work with mental health organizations. I actively work with the FBI, our mayor's anti-gang unit. I mean, again, it takes an army to support each other. We all have one common goal, which is to keep students safe, to provide them with enough information to make good decisions and to stay out of trouble, to make sure that students never become a victim of crime. And at the end of the day, Crime Stoppers of Houston, we cover a ton, which you're going to see in just a second, but we don't cover everything. And if someone reaches out to us and says, hey, do you have a presentation or a program that talks about gangs? My response is, we actually don't, but I know someone who does. And just constantly working together to make sure we are fulfilling that goal is really what keeps us motivated. So let's talk a little bit more about our programs. Again, the tip line program, it operates 24/7 at Crime Stoppers of Houston. We actually receive close to about 2,500 calls per month, and it's actually staffed by investigators. So that's what kind of sets us apart from other tip lines and anonymous reporting systems across the state of Texas is when someone calls our tip line, whether it is a civilian or just a community member reporting something or a student, we actually have trained law enforcement who are answering those calls and can ask the appropriate questions, make sure that the follow-up is following procedure, and they can get the most crucial information to try to keep our schools and communities safe. We've had a lot of success with our tip line at Crime Stoppers of Houston. We've solved over 35,000 felony cases due to anonymous tips that have come in, apprehended over 27,000 felony fugitives, and have paid over 23,000 tipsters. And so what is interesting as well is our CEO at Crime Stoppers of Houston is, constantly working with people across the state of Texas, and she's gotten a lot of phone calls from different law enforcement agencies and mayors and the governor over the years saying, because of the tip that Crime Stoppers of Houston received and the fact that y'all were able to solve that crime, it actually helped us solve 7 crimes here in our area. And what is really cool is to kind of follow how all of our work is connected, how we're, again, we all have that one common goal. Not only have we apprehended a lot of people and solved a lot of crimes, I do want to show you really just the breakdown of some of the things that we do get called into our tip line. We've solved a little over 1,100 murder cases, over 10,000 robbery and burglary cases, 530 sexual assault rape cases against women and children, 67 plus million in stolen property and cash have been recovered due to tips coming into our tip line. We've seized nearly $130 million in narcotics bought and sold in the Houston community, and have given back $200 million to law enforcement through, forfeiture funds. So we're just really proud of what our tip line does. And at the end of the day, what we've realized is people want to do the right thing. People want to speak up. People want to report. And because they know that their identity will be protected through our anonymous reporting tool, they're more willing to call us and provide that information to keep their community safe. What is also interesting, and I'll go through this in a little bit, we do provide a cash reward if your tip leads to an arrest or helps us identify a suspect. And everyone likes cash. It's a great incentive, but it is interesting, and we track this. We get a ton of tips and we solve a lot of crimes, and it is, I would say about half or 3/4 of the people actually go to pick up the money. A lot of people don't even claim their cash reward. They just wanted a safe and anonymous place to report and to help their community. And so it's just something neat and cool that we've noticed over the years. So that's just a little bit of background on Crime Stoppers and who we are, and kind of the foundation of our organization in Houston for over 40 years. But the main part of the program I want to cover today is the Safe School Institute. The function of the Safe School Institute at Crime Stoppers of Houston is to create a one-stop center for all aspects of school safety. We're creating proactive dialogues with students, school staff, and law enforcement. We provide an anonymous reporting system for students, which is, of course, we all know, state mandated, and recognizes that students are truly the first line of defense or first line of intelligence when it comes to school safety. At the end of the day, we're just providing free resources for schools in Houston, but we also provide free resources for everyone in Texas. We're starting to work with a lot of regions. We work very, very closely with Region 4 here in Houston. We put on a big regional school safety summit with them. I've been asked to train certain staff members through Region 4. I've worked with Region 14, Region 12, Region 3, Region 10. And so, especially that we're operating virtually right now, it's really easy for me to connect with people across the state and provide you all with these presentations and to talk to you about the different subject matter that we cover and to try to just help start the conversation. So at the bottom, on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see a photo of me presenting to a group of students. Pretty positive this presentation was on mental health, but it makes my day when I can see all this hard work that we're doing behind the scenes come to fruition when I actually get to go and do this with the students and have these amazing conversations that we really believe are life-saving. And so if you want to find out more, just some statistics and details about our Safe School Institute that I did not mention on this page, you can go to our website. And then if you go to our programs, you'll see the Safe School Institute tab. I did mention this, but I want to reiterate, every presentation or training that we offer within the Safe School Institute at Crime Stoppers of Houston is completely free of charge. We have fabulous sponsors who make that possible for us at Crime Stoppers, and it's just really hard for us to put a price on safety. If one school reaches out to us and needs a human trafficking presentation, and they can pay the fee, but another school can't, we couldn't, stand the thought of maybe a school not being able to have these resources. So we're just really, really thankful for our amazing sponsors and donors who make this possible. Again, I know the big word is free. We are just completely free of charge. We have programs available for students pre-K through 12th grade. So my team and I write curriculum for all students. Not every presentation topic that we have available is applicable for students pre-K through 12, but we do have content available. We work with public, private, charter schools, homeschool groups. Honestly, really and truly, anyone who contacts us and says, I have a group of students I need you to talk to, we will make it happen. We've worked with over 70 school districts across the greater Houston area and across the state of Texas. We are a year-round program. We never stop presenting and developing curriculum and new presentations. Even in the summer, we work with a lot of YMCAs, Boys and Girls Clubs, summer camp programs. We're just a really reputable brand, especially in Houston. We've been here for 40 years. People know us and trust the work that we're doing. And our presentations, we make sure that they are staying up to date with the state requirements and state mandates. So working very closely with the TEA and the Texas School Safety Center when new amendments come about to make sure that our presentations are aligning with that. We've actually reached over 1.2 million students since inception, which we're incredibly proud of. In a little bit, I want to talk to y'all about our tip line and how we talk about our tip line and the importance of anonymous reporting. But due to our tip line, we've actually removed 282 weapons from Texas schools before they were able to be used on a student. And again, it's just something we are incredibly proud of. And not only do we know that prevention is so important to talk to kids about all the different subject matters that impact their life, but to really focus on the reporting piece too. So let's talk about all the different presentations that Crime Stoppers offers. For students, we can just come to talk to you straight about our tip line. We do have an active shooter presentation available for middle through high school students, animal safety, cyber safety, which is probably our #1 most requested presentation, bullying prevention, human trafficking, of course, juvenile laws, mental health, situational awareness, substance use prevention, teen dating, and prom safety. I want to just point out before continuing that so many of the topics that we cover really kind of mesh together. And what I mean by that is in our cyber safety curriculum, especially for middle and high schoolers, we talk a lot about grooming techniques that are used by predators to establish relationships with students and to help students recognize what grooming actually looks like and how grooming comes in many different shapes and forms. It could be someone contacting you as a romantic interest, maybe just platonically, or even a mentor. But that is also language that we use in our human trafficking presentation. And then when we talk a lot about what human trafficking looks like and the manipulation tactics that are used and the different grooming tactics that are used, that bleeds over into also teen dating and what abusive relationships look like. And we try really hard to make sure that the curriculum and the language that we're using is unified. If a student sees one presentation, that if we were able to come back and provide another, that the language would be very similar and they can see how all of this is connected. There are amazing schools in Houston who actively have us back month after month and really promote the personal safety presentations that we offer. And so one month I'll come and talk about cyber safety. One month I will cover human trafficking, and the next month teen dating. And I'll have students come up to me and say, I see how all of this is connected. And to me, that is one of the biggest compliments that I can get as a presenter is for them to start thinking about their personal safety and putting it at the top of, just what they're aware of to make sure that they're making those good decisions. And, I'm just really happy that we've been able to develop curriculum to this extent. We also have educator presentations that really align with a lot of our student topics. I will let you guys know that if you were to ever request a presentation through the Safe School Institute, like our cyber safety presentation for students is very different than the cyber safety presentation for educators. When it comes to student curriculum, it's really rooted in prevention, how to protect yourself, things to be aware of, how to have those hard conversations, how to ask for help, how to report. Educator and parent presentations that we offer are very transparent, very honest. It's kind of like, this is everything that you need to know to be able to support your students. We're not, going to hide anything from you guys. It's kind of information overload, but also with step-by-step ways of how to address this with students, how to have those hard conversations, talking points, and that sort of thing. But the language is different, and we want to make sure that it's applicable for the audience. We also work with different organizations to accommodate some of the needs across Houston and across the state of Texas. So our active shooter presentation that we offer is actually facilitated by JetBlue. JetBlue has a really, really fabulous active shooter training, and we rely on the experts to provide some of this information. And they have a great video that goes along with their training, a video compiled with a couple celebrities and also actually victims of active shooter situations and talking about things that they've learned through the process. We've had really great success so far with that training. Our mental health curriculum at Crime Stoppers is brought to you by Be Nice. Be Nice is a mental health foundation out of West Michigan. The Be Nice curriculum is incredible. It follows an action plan, which is to notice, invite, challenge, and empower. And through that action plan, it actually makes the mental health curriculum extremely digestible for kids as young as kindergarten and then all the way up to 18 and in 12th grade. And it's something that they can take with them into adulthood. And then we just very recently partnered with Maureen Molak and David's Legacy Foundation to redo or kind of revamp our bullying prevention curriculum for students. And so currently right now I'm working with them to just kind of restructure our trainings. And so what I will say, and what I'm so excited for this particular partnership, is that Crime Stoppers has always kind of focused more on safety, facts, statistics, do's and don'ts, again, rooted in safety. But partnering with David's legacy, we've been able to really bring in some of that more social and emotional part of bullying as well, and to talk about, the consequences, the effects on your mental health, and talking about scenarios, and of course, David's law. So we're really excited to roll that program out. And if you want more information on that bullying curriculum, I'm happy to share that with you all. We also have a safe community program, which is kind of the parent curriculum falls under safe community, but the parent presentations, educator presentations are very similar. Languages differs throughout, obviously, depending on our audience, but if you ever want presentations on human trafficking, cyber safety awareness, really the nexus between cyber safety and human trafficking, we offer that through our free programming. Please feel free to reach out to me anytime and we can talk about getting that scheduled. So what I wanted to do next was kind of walk you through the language we use when talking about anonymous reporting at Crime Stoppers. And please feel free to use this language when talking to students you work with. But at the end of the day, we want kids to realize that they are the first line of defense when it comes to school safety. They can absolutely be the change they want to see to help keep their campus safe. Never once in the 4 years that I've been doing this with students has a student come up to me and told me that they regret reporting. I've only had students tell me that they regret not reporting. And I've just learned by working with them hands-on for this many years that most kids really, really want to do the right thing. They want to speak up, they want to help their community, they want to advocate for their friends who may not be able to advocate for themselves. They just don't want to get caught up in the mess. They don't want to be labeled a snitch. They have fear of retaliation from their peers, fear of retaliation from maybe even teachers as well. And so they're kind of caught in this place of, I want to do the right thing. I just don't know who to talk to about that. And so anytime I go into a school and we talk about speaking up and advocating for your friends, of course, I push students to talk to the administration on campus and talk to a trusted adult face to face. But if they do have an underlying fear, there are anonymous reporting tools out there, and Crime Stoppers is one of them. So what is the Crime Stoppers Safe School Tip Line? The tip line program is used anonymously to report any and all crime-related activity. You can call our famous phone number, 713-222-TIPS. You can use our mobile app, which is free. A lot of students tell me that they prefer using our mobile app because you all know kids today, they way prefer texting over calling, and they can also upload pictures and videos to support the claim or the tip that they are reporting. Or if anyone is forgetting how to contact us, you can just Google Crime Stoppers of Houston, and our tip line information is on our website. So these are actually slides pulled straight from student presentations. So we'll tell students that if your tip leads to an arrest or disciplinary action, you can be eligible for a cash reward. And of course, when I mention that, students are like, what? I have all their attention. The minute I say cash reward, I have their attention because again, all kids want to do the right thing. Well, not all kids, most kids want to do the right thing, and all kids like cash. When a student reports to Crime Stoppers in Houston, we will never ask you for your name, phone number, address, or anything else that could be used to identify you. So when we say we're anonymous, we are 100% completely anonymous. There's actually a law that prevents our officers from knowing the identity of our tipsters. Even if the tipster gave all of their information, we cannot record that information. We do not have caller ID or record phone calls. It just is that extra layer to really make sure the tipsters know that we are not going to tell a different law enforcement agency or the school their name, and it can't be used against them. So I jumped the gun a little bit, but of course we do not record phone calls or have caller ID. So once you submit a tip through Crime Stoppers, we will give you a code number, and the code number really becomes your new identity. So you're no longer Jenna who called Crime Stoppers last week to report a weapon on your school campus. You are now tipster 1234, or whatever that code number is that's assigned to your case. And we ask that all kids keep that code number handy, because if they do want to check back in with us and potentially get instructions on how to receive their cash reward, they need that code number. If you lose the code number, there's nothing we can do to help you. So we'll also give you a date and time to call back to check in on the status of your case. So again, you call back and you say, this is tipster 1234. Do you know if anything has been done based off the information provided? And our officers will fill in the tipster. So when you call back with your code number, we will let you know if your tip helped solve a crime or resulted in disciplinary action. So our tip line not only helps the community, but in Houston as well, if a student helps us solve a crime on school campus, absolutely, most likely they will receive a cash reward. But also we take tips on bullying, we take tips on self-harm, we take tips on harassment, things that are a direct violation of the student code of conduct that might not always result in a criminal charge, but there could be disciplinary action tied to it as well. And so if it did, we will give you detailed instructions on where to pick up your cash reward. Before I move on, I do want to say, I know that not everyone on this call is from Houston. And so you might be thinking, how could this apply to me? Well, there are Crime Stoppers organizations across the state of Texas. And every Crime Stoppers organization, the foundation is a tip line. There is a Crime Stoppers near you with a tip line that works just like the one in Houston. I want you to know that Crime Stoppers is a resource and a solution for campus safety, for community safety, and I'm always happy to put you in touch with the Crime Stoppers in your area as well. Students will often ask us, why should I report? Why should I even get involved? What is the point? And so we want to kind of pull at their heartstrings a little bit and talk to them about things that are impacting their day-to-day. Students know what's going on long before a trusted adult or law enforcement does. Again, they're the eyes and ears of school campuses. 1 out of 3 kids are impacted by bullying. And this slide gives us a really great opportunity to just open that conversation with students, talk to them about what they're seeing on a school campus and especially what they're seeing that could lead to a tip. Can you report this? Can you save a life? Suicide is the second leading cause of death among high school students. Students are more and more willing to talk about mental health than ever before. I've been, again, doing this for close to 4 years now. And when I first started, when we talk about mental health, it still felt slightly taboo. And just even in 4 years, going to a school campus and saying, hey, I'm going to talk to y'all about mental health today and how you think and act and feel, they're a lot more receptive to that information, and they want to advocate for their friends and themselves. This is a great slide to use. Please feel free to take a photo of it. I know that this is being recorded, so you will get a copy of it, but I'm sure if you work with students as much as I do, snitch is probably your least favorite word. It has become my least favorite word over the years because, we go to school campuses, we push anonymous reporting, and there's always that one kid in the back of the room that raises their hand and kind of derails the conversation because they're like, I'm not going to be a snitch. I'm not going to rat on my friends. And I really want students to see the difference between snitching and reporting, the difference between tattletaling and then saving a life. And so if you can, adopt this language for the students you serve, that would be fabulous, to just remind them that if they're sitting on information that can get someone help, that can save a life, that can right a wrong, that can greatly impact the community in a positive way, that is not snitching, that is being a hero. and kind of empowering students to use their voice and know that their voice will be taken seriously, and there's trusted adults out there who want to listen to them. We've had a lot of successes, with our tip line, especially in school campuses. Just in general, again, we've reached over 1.2 million students. We've paid a little over 1,800 students, and with those cash rewards, solved close to 2,000 campus cases. A little over 2,000 suspects charged or arrested or disciplined because of tips that have come to us. And again, my favorite statistic, we've removed 282 weapons from school campuses before they were being able to use on another student. So Crime Stoppers of Houston is also expanding statewide. Governor Abbott wrote this into his school and firearm safety action plan in 2018 as kind of setting Crime Stoppers of Houston as the model for Crime Stoppers organizations across the state of Texas. So what we're doing in response to that is quarterly, I am training Crime Stoppers organizations across the state of Texas to implement a safe school program to not only use the tip line, but to also use education. And due to this statewide expansion as well, it's also allowed me to present all over the state of Texas, to allow myself and my team to, present in San Antonio and Austin and Laredo and Albany. Wherever you are, we can connect with you and provide free education resources, talk to the students, talk to your staff, send you PDFs of tons of information on reporting and human trafficking and cyber safety, all the things that I'm sure you are hoping to get out of joining these webinar series. We just want to be part of that solution for you all. We also are reaching a lot of people virtually, and it's kind of been we've been growing and leaning in this direction for, I would say, at least 2 years, but especially in response to COVID, we have really tried to make sure that everything is accessible online for you guys. So once a month, we upload a cyber safety video. It's part of our cyber safety conversations in partnership with T-Mobile. It's available through our website and on our Crime Stoppers of Houston YouTube channel. I just filmed a segment last month covering an app called Omegle, which is extremely dangerous. And we see a lot of grooming, sexting, inappropriate imagery, a lot of human trafficking, grooming type conversations as well start on that platform. So if you want to know more about apps that are dangerous, trends that we're seeing, cyber safety conversations is where you can definitely go for that information. As part of our Safe Community program at Crime Stoppers, we also have safety hot topic videos, which kind of cover more of just general community safety topics, but still really, really great resources. We also have a Save webinar series, and actually in partnership with the TEA. So these webinars go live every Monday at 10 a.m. In January, all of the presentations we put out for our Save webinar series were all covering human trafficking. So if you want to go back and watch those, they are available as like an on-demand feature. On our website, you can watch the recordings of the presentations we offered, just so you can see more about the language we use when talking about human trafficking and just growing the conversation. So not only did we present kind of our standard human trafficking presentation, we also brought in someone from DFPS and talked to them about what they're seeing when it comes to cases of child abuse and sexual exploitation. So just to kind of focusing on some of the nuances and expanding that is really done through our SAVE webinar series. SAVE stands for Safety, Awareness, and Valuable Education. We are also just presenting every day via Zoom, Teams, Google Chat, whatever your campus uses, we can hop on that and talk to your students. it has been definitely interesting shifting from being in person with students every single day to a virtual world, but I try to find the silver linings in it, and we've just been able to reach so many people, and I can actually present back to back to back to back instead of driving all over Houston trying to get from one school to another. And you know, I miss being in person, but we see some perks virtually as well. If if basically you couldn't find a time to have us present live virtually, we could also pre-record a session for you, and you can use it as an asynchronous kind of learning tool, posting it on your school's website or sending a pre-recorded Zoom link out to your students, and they can watch it at home with their parents. We're really just trying to help in any way that we possibly can. I actually just had a school counselor reach out to me from a local school district in the Houston area and asked if I could record cyber safety and human trafficking videos for students and educators to put on their website. And it would just be available for people to watch for like a 2-week period. And so they wouldn't have to coordinate schedules and carve out a specific presentation time. It would just be a resource. And what I'm loving is that we can start doing that now, especially that we're using Zoom and other platforms so much. And if you just want other webinars that are available to you whenever, pretty similar to our SAVE webinars, every Tuesday, we have a scheduled virtual program that we offer through our events page on our website, and you can register for it. If you can't actually watch it live, if you've registered, you will get a link sent to you with the recording. So we're just trying to make this as easy as possible for our viewers and to try to provide this information whenever it's most convenient for you. The Safe School Institute really is a resource and solution. I've just been so proud to work for this organization for the past 4 years and help grow the Safe School program, see the needs that schools are having that are new from what it was a year ago. We have really grown our programming to try to cover all the different age ranges. We used to focus mostly on middle and high school, but we know that kids are exposed to things so young today. Just a couple statistics that are always alarming to me. The average age a child sees pornography today is 8 to 9 years old. And so we need to be talking about cyber safety in elementary school. We need to be talking about cyber safety to help prepare conversations for human trafficking when the kids get a little bit older. We need to be talking about mental health and substance use younger and younger. And so we are really, kind of going full force on that and trying to make sure that we are bringing in experts, and I'm sitting on different committees to make sure that we're providing the most current, up-to-date, and useful information for Texas schools. And I'm just so thankful that I was asked to speak today to provide you all with more information on what Crime Stoppers does. And I ended about 15 minutes early, but I would love to be able to answer any questions that you all have. I could explain presentations in more detail, talk to you about anything if you do have questions. If not, no worries at all. And then before you all, I'm sure Kelly and Rod have some announcements, but there is also a survey that they would like you to take. So if you don't mind queuing up your phone and using that QR code, that would be awesome.
So Jenna, some questions that came from chat that I tried to field some answers, but we just want to make sure. You offer parent presentations, also staff training and student presentations. So those 3 areas. One question was asked, are parent presentations offered in Spanish?
Yes, they are. So we, I know, we're like this too. We, about a year ago, our wonderful education specialist joined on, and she's bilingual, and she's been able to provide these presentations in Spanish, and we've seen a lot of requests come in for that. And so if you need that, please reach out and we can absolutely get those scheduled.
Outstanding. Another question, and I think you kind of generally answered this by maybe getting in contact with you, but finding our local Crime Stoppers in our area, and I know programs are different from place to place, but would maybe the local Crime Stoppers be able to provide some of the resources you do as well?
Yeah, so that's kind of our goal with our state expansion right now, is trying to make sure that the local Crime Stoppers are trained to provide this information. Your local Crime Stoppers will absolutely always be a tip line resource for you as they grow their Safe School program. But we can also present on behalf of your local Crime Stoppers and actually just change the phone number. So if you want us to talk about anonymous reporting, we can put in the Crime Stoppers phone number that's applicable for your area. We're kind of happy to customize it, however, but if you do want to get in touch with your local Crime Stoppers organization to see what they're offering, I'm happy to kind of make that connection for you.
Okay. And then student presentations, are they done in Spanish as well?
Yes.
Okay, great. The other question, I'm trying to figure out how to manage this for you, Jenna, because I can see the floodgates opening for you. Are you willing to do Zoom presentations? And it was specifically in El Paso. So maybe those presentations that you're offering either virtually and or pre-recorded, is there a way to do that where your email box doesn't just totally get flooded, or is that the best way to maybe go at this?
Yeah, yeah, honestly, just email me and we can start that conversation. It's not just me. I would be very overwhelmed if it was just me presenting for the entire state of Texas, but I have a team of wonderfully trained presenters. And so this is what we do. It's the foundation of it. We're used to a lot of requests, and I'm happy to just talk to you about the possibility.
Okay. Guys, you have the ability to unmute your mic if you had a question that would be specific to what we've heard today, or how this could maybe apply to human trafficking or your needs. You can either, again, do through chat, or you can open up your mics and ask that question directly.
And also, I will say a lot of just teachers, school staff I work with kind of want to just know more about the presentation before booking it, which makes complete sense. And so I can also send you kind of our short descriptions we've written on the presentations, or I can just walk you through it on the phone and kind of talk to you about how a cyber safety presentation differs for a 4th grader versus a 7th grader and how that language shifts. So please, again, just reach out. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Trying to keep an eye on chat for you, but I think we got most of that.
Okay, great.
Anything else you all need to know? Take the opportunity while you have it. Don't be shy. Okay. Okay.
All right.
I would thank you very much for Jennifer, one, for your time today to talk to us and let us know some of the resources, and then also for the efforts that you guys have been doing for quite a while. We just really appreciate that. The QR code is right there. Kelly, is there a way that we could put the QR code in chat? That's one thing I don't have the ability to do, but, and then the email address, I'll try to, it's in chat, folks, for everybody, but I'll put it up for Jenna one more time, so you'll have that in chat. As far as the presentation, it can be made available, but usually we do that in connection with when the video is posted as well. So it'll be just a little bit of time for that. Or Jenna might be able to handle it that way.
Yeah.
If Monica's on, she may be able to help with the QR code in the chat. I'm not able to do that at this this time.
Okay.
But Jenna, thank you so much. This was just phenomenal information, and hearing all that you guys are doing and all that you offer was really, really great. And so on behalf of all of us here today, thank you for your time, and thanks for all that you do in serving Texas school students and helping to promote safety and increase awareness. And I'm excited to be connected to you guys and these resources. So thank you.
Of course, thank you all so much.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, I think that's a wrap. This concludes our presentation. Thank you all for joining. Have a really good afternoon.
Thank you all.